Hello, I'm Chris, and until recently I was the head of podcasts for DC Thomson, a publisher headquartered in Scotland. The company recently made that role redundant as part of its ongoing transformation, and over the next few minutes, if you've got them, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the work I did there. Because I'm not done with podcasting, I want my skills to find a new home. The chief exec gave me the brief in 2019 to start the podcast channel at DC Thomson. And since then, I've helped teams right across the business launch more than a dozen podcasts, working on formats, training producers and talent, creating and codifying best practice for local, remote and hybrid recording and production, and also just spending thousands of hours working in multi-track editing in Audition. I've worked on simple roundtables where the main job was leveling, compression and EQ, through to shows where I take out ums and stumbles, up to complicated episodes like this one, which was intended as a Christmas special. But more than the shows though, the thing I'm proudest of are the teams I worked with. These were journalists who in almost every case had no experience in broadcast, and it was an immense privilege to train them, support them, cheerlead them, as I turned them into presenters, editors, engineers and producers. As well as leaving behind talented colleagues and friends, I leave behind a company infinitely more able to make amazing podcasts and other audio content, and that is immensely gratifying. There are links in the description below to some of the shows that we've made together. The warmth and joy, let's say, of Helen interviewing Benjamin Zephaniah on Author in Your Classroom, which was a moment that genuinely made me cry, to the commercial success of the podcast box set model we created for Energy Voice Out Loud, and the innovative slow radio format of Walk to Wellbeing, and just 10,000 other little moments of triumph, and I want to tell you about all of them. But maybe that could wait for a coffee. I did the best work of my career over the last 3 years with some of the best people that I've ever worked with, and I was just getting started. I was a department of one. I did everything to facilitate and guide what my teams wanted to do, nudging, leading, encouraging them in this new space. Part of that was that pastoral care and enfranchisement, and part of it was tech. I'm good at evaluating kit, platforms and apps and making pragmatic decisions and then sharing knowledge and logistics in a way that is easy to access. Here's just one wee example. When we wanted our external guests to sound great, we'd ship them a mic, and I built little packs in Peli cases that we could round trip out to them. I especially love how I realised we needed illustrations for the guide I wrote to onboard guests, and asked one of the Beano illustrators to have Minnie the Minx show them how it's done. And for one show in particular, since we spent a lot of time onboarding quite corporate blue chip guests, we developed a little routine for pre-record briefings that talked about the tone of the conversation being the conversation I'd overhear in a hotel bar after a conference and after a martini. And then I realised we could also include a martini, and so I partnered with Neo Cocktails to ship one in the box. I need to stop talking. A podcast gives you the chance to connect with people in the most intimate of ways, and it gives you space to set out an argument, but you've always got to be respectful of your audience. And so let me just close in saying I've learned an immense amount as I created an entire podcast department from scratch with my phenomenal content colleagues. And I had so much fun helping them tell stories and advance their business interests that I'd like to bring my skills and passion for podcasting to a new home. I want to stay based here in Dundee in the northeast of Scotland with my little family, but I'm happy to travel. I think I'd like to find a company whose mission I can really connect with and become a part of that team rather than working freelance, but I'm open to some fixed-term contracts where I can parachute in and help companies skip ahead in their podcasting journey. That's what I'm good at, and I want to find a place that will value my particular and unique mix of strategy, storytelling, and hands-on production in podcasting. I'll leave the last words to some colleagues and peers. I was honoured to receive the inaugural Publisher Podcast Hero of the Year award in 2020. And when some of our shows won awards at the most recent Publisher Podcast Awards, my teams were kind enough to acknowledge my work and my character in their acceptance speeches. I've also pulled out a few lines from recommendations people have been kind enough to leave on LinkedIn for me too. Find me there to read more and to see my whole professional history. And so, thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to continue this conversation, I'd love to hear from you.
And so this special award that the three of us have chosen is for an individual within the industry who's gone above and beyond to demonstrate the value of podcasting to publishers. The person that we chose was vocal inside and outside the industry. They were eager to make the technology and production processes beneficial, and I would say are a true inspiration to anybody looking to launch a podcast. So the Publisher Podcast Hero of the Year, as chosen by the Media Voices team, is Christopher Finn from DC Thomson.
Thank you so much for having me. It's amazing to see so many faces after living in my study for 2 years, and slightly overwhelming as well. I'd like to thank three people. DC Thomson's digital doyen, Chris Finn, sitting at the back. Amazing. My boss, Ryan Stevenson, for making it work. And my wife, who threatened me with terrible things if I didn't say thank you to her. So thank you to those three, and thank you to all of you as well.
Thank you very much. Wow. Yes, to be able to bring children into the world of books and reading and writing and tell them that they deserve to be there is a privilege in itself. And it's also enormous fun. I've just got three people to thank as well. I'd like to thank Joe Carter, who came up with the original concept. I'd like to thank Charlotte Anderson-Barrow, my amazing editor and producer. And I'm sorry you'll get bored of hearing his name, but Chris Finn, who is the absolute best teacher, mentor, cheerleader, and chum any podcaster could wish for. Thank you.